Hey, how's it going? It is Tuesday, January 30th, and this is the first shot of the day. I just left a client's house, and I can call them a client because they signed. I got my first listing agreement today. Going home to put it in on the MLS and get this sucker ready to sell. It's a nice little, it's not really little, it's a 2,800 square foot condo up in Sevierville, and I think it's going to sell pretty fast. I have some confidence that it's going to sell fast. It's a nice little neighborhood. It's a condo's only not even 2 years old yet, so I'm excited, guys. She also gave me some really good leads, some really strong buyers, and as soon as these other cabin owners, one is recovering from surgery, the other one is on a cruise. As soon as they get back, I'm going to call them. They're ready to sell their cabins, so that should be 2 cabins for roughly $300,000 each in a well sought after area for investors and people looking for a getaway home in the Smoky Mountains. So, what did I learn today? What is there to share? Well, I wasn't that prepared for the signing. I mean, it went smoothly because she had everything. She just wanted me to go over the contracts with her real quick and sign through her email via AuthentiSign. But this is where I could have done better, and this is where you guys have an opportunity to learn from me and my mistakes as a newbie, as I'm growing in this business and learning. Okay, 1, I need to find or create a listing like a listing checklist. Okay, something that says go over these points at the listing, at the signing of the listing agreements and other contracts, and then I've got something that goes over what to do once it's signed. But I'm sure that there's questions I need to be asking, and information I need to be getting from them as far as when you get the listing originally signed. Now, there's not too much to go over with this lady because she's moving out of the house. She's not living there. I can do open houses whenever I want. She's got a keyless entry at the front door, so I don't need a lockbox, even though I bought one anyway. She's just ready to sell. I mean, I couldn't think of anything else I really needed to ask her. And if you guys can think of anything, feel free to comment below. And if you have something like a checklist and you want to share it, please do so in the comments below or email me directly. But, luckily I found a listing checklist as far as what to do to get the house ready to sell, and it's pretty detailed. I got it from my Tom Ferry coaching membership, and it's going to help out as far as getting this house sold and getting it ready for the market. But there's not really any scripts out there that I can think of that go over what to say when the person says yes and when they're ready to sign. All the scripts are for when you get it, or the scripts are for how to get them to the appointment and how to get them to sign. So it was kind of awkward. Like I didn't really know what to say, but luckily we get along really well, so we just kind of talked about a lot of things. But man, it feels good. It feels good to have a listing. Now, I'm supposed to be going to a lady's house who I left contracts with on Saturday, and pick up the contract she signed, but she didn't answer her phone. So I'm about an hour outside of Knoxville. So once I get into Knoxville, I'm going to pull over and give her a call again. Hopefully she answers. I know she's probably a little hesitant to sign anything because she's really wanting to just buy a house right now, but I've convinced her that we need to get her house listed, so that when we find a house, her offer will be strong, because it's going to be contingent on her selling her home, and no buyer is going to take an offer with that kind of contingency seriously if the home isn't even listed. So I think she understood that, but she also had this wild idea that she would only sign for a term of 3 months and re-sign every 3 months. So, I told her we could talk about that again later. In fact, I actually just agreed with her because I wanted to get the listing. But I thought about it, and when I go to her, I'm going to let her know, like, look, I created I created an exit contract that basically says that she'll be able to end the contract at any time, as long as she gives me a notice on why she wants to end it and give me an opportunity to fix it first. So hopefully that will agree to a longer term. And then I'm also going to let her know that 3 months isn't any time at all when it comes to listing a property, because it'll likely take 45 to 60 days to get an offer that we accept, and then 30 days to close or longer. And in that time period, if I have to re-sign a listing agreement, it could mess up the entire deal. So hopefully she'll agree to at least 6 months to 8 months, and then we're not even listing it for another month, because she wants to do things around her house. So she seems kind of like she's dragging her feet on listing, even though she knows she wants to sell, and she definitely wants to buy and downsize. All the reasons, all her whys are strong, but she also has a lot of memories in this house. She's been there 25 years, so I feel like she's dragging her feet on the listing of it. And I'm sure she's also afraid that her house is going to sell before she finds a house to buy. But we have ways to get around that, and I talked to her about it. So anyway, I tend to jump to conclusions when people don't answer their phone when they say they're supposed to. More than likely, she was in the shower, or she just wasn't home yet. But still, I got a listing today, and I got some really, really great leads that I think are going to add up to more listings and quick closes, because I have buyers on the other side that are looking for exactly what these people want to sell. So, I don't know what else to say. I'm driving. It's a beautiful day here in Knoxville. Keep grinding, guys. Just make every day about filling in that pipeline, and once you get some deals, don't stop filling in that pipeline. While I'm home putting in the MLS of the phone, cold calling. So if you had any doubts in me, go to hell. If you were one of my cheerleaders, thank you so much, and I will keep you posted on how the rest of the day goes and how this listing goes, and we'll go from there. All right. I was planning to take a rest day, but I've been on the phone for almost 2 hours talking to the leads that were given to me by that seller. Truth be told, they are investors, so they're not looking for anything specific. They're planning to buy whenever, but it's going to take a little more work on my end to get them to close on something. Obviously as investors, they're looking for deals. Jim is looking for cabins that he can flip. The good thing with Jim is he's also the manager or president of homeowners association for that area. So if I can get if I can help Jim meet his goals, then I can likely, that will put me as Jim's go-to agent when he has homeowners in that area looking to list their house or their cabin. So that gives me motivation to try to help Jim find what he's looking for. Now, Jim's looking for lots I don't know anything about lots or land, but you know what? I'll figure it out and learn. The other guy is Princeton Thornton, who is looking for cabins that he can buy and use as rentals. So that's a little more promising because I feel a little better about coming across properties in that area and that he's what he might want to buy. And it seems like he's almost willing to pay pretty close to market value. So we will see on those two. It's outside my area, and Sevierville is a little bit of a drive for me. But since I have a home listed up there, I'll probably be up there pretty often, so I can do some driving around and looking. Additionally, I tried to call the other two leads, but it just got voicemail, so I left some voicemails. But those conversations took a little bit of time, and so I'm taking my first break for the day. Come on, girls. Come on, girls. So I'm heading to pick up my wife and daughter, and I decided that I was going to kind of work half a day. At first I was just going to take the day off, but then I decided that I was going to put in a little work this morning, mostly oriented to trying to streamline the way I run my business. And as I was doing that, I also got a call from my coach, and we talked about schedules, and we talked about fear. And the fear came up because as we were talking, the struggle that I reached out to him for was the fact that I always start my day off really unfocused. I know what I need to do. I know what I have on that time block. And during the first hour of the day, I have time block to basically do what's called 554. But basically what that is doing some follow-ups and calling your sphere. The goal is to call 14 people. It's a lot of phone calls in an hour, but more than likely you're not going to talk to all of those people, and the conversations are going to be really short, so it's possible. And what I'm supposed to be doing during that time is calling past clients and sphere. The first 5 is past clients and sphere, and you're calling just to say, hey, how's it going? I'm a real estate agent. Do you know anybody looking for a real estate agent? The second set of 5 is follow-up. So that's when you can call, follow up on leads that you haven't talked to, follow up on leads you have talked to see where they're at, follow up with maybe people from the sphere that you've had conversations with recently. Maybe they had a problem, maybe you're helping them with something, some reason to follow up and check on them. And then the last 4 is new conversations, and that's calling maybe a new person in your sphere you haven't reached out to yet, call in new leads, and things like that. But I always stall out here, right? And as I was talking to him, it kind of dawned on me that as I was giving him the excuses on why I have a hard time focusing, and as I realized how simple and how complicated I was making things, I realized I was complicating it because I had a fear on calling people that I know but that I haven't talked to in years. You know, it's so funny that I can call strangers and start up a conversation. And even when I call people, when I have broke through and made those phone calls to people I haven't talked to in a year, for example, today I called a guy, Ayanli, who used to work in a hospital together. I haven't talked to him in probably over 3 years, and we just talked like it was no big deal. But it's just that initial push is where I get defeated sometimes. And I hope you guys can see me. I got the sun right behind me, but I realized that, there we go. I realized I was struggling with fear. So I got to thinking about that, and how I also get distracted with all this, all the little details of running a business as a real estate agent, and I let myself get off course. And it just reminded me that One, I don't have enough reminders or barriers set up to remind me to get focused. For example, something I did today was I just went ahead and set a reminder on my phone for every hour that a new time block starts, so that no matter what I'm doing at that hour, whether I finish what I'm doing in that time block, whatever my goal was during that time, whether it's done or not, stop and move on to the next thing. And then that got me to thinking about how at night, when I have a time block to spend time with my family, I still tend to run away during that time and go into my little home office and start working on stuff that I didn't finish throughout the day. And one, that's great because it shows my motivation and my drive, but at the same time I'm neglecting my family, and there's a reason I put that time block there. And this kind of ties into the day when I said earlier about taking time for yourself. You need to take time for your loved ones because you're doing this for them, and you don't want to lose them in this journey, right? You don't want to lose them. I've seen so many I heard so many stories of people, of successful men. There's a reason why a lot of successful men are not with their first wife. And some of it is because, they probably wanted a new wife. Maybe their goals and their personalities no longer aligned when they found a drive to be successful, and maybe the wife wasn't along for the ride. But I think in a lot of cases it's because the successful are so obsessed with being successful that they forget why they wanted to be successful in the first place. So, point I'm trying to make is this. I guess I'm making a lot of points. So we'll work backwards. As far as your family, take the time to show your family love. When you time block it, if you have to, and stick to it. The work you have to do to improve your business, it's a never-ending battle. There's always new gadgets, new strategies, new tools, new ways to get leads, new things to implement. You're never going to perfect it. Never. You'll get better at what you do, but you're never going to perfect it. And even as when you get better, you're going to want to grow. So don't worry about if you have some stuff unfinished. You'll get to it tomorrow. Spend time with your family. Now on the flip side, talking about fear, you have to remember, and the best reminders for me are when I hear people bitch about how things aren't going their way. You have to remember that nothing happens until you take action. I watched a video today on the lady that created the 5-second rule, and she said motivation was bullshit. And I was like, what do you mean motivation is bullshit? And then when she explained it, she was right. Like, motivation is great, except the fact that motivation is never there when you need it. When you're scared, when you're trying to lose weight and you're hungry, when you are trying to quit drinking beer or liquor, and then you find someone offering you a drink. Where'd the motivation go? Motivation is great when you have those ideas in the spur of the moment, emotions that want to drive you to do something, but most of the time those moments happen when you can't do anything except make a decision to do something. But when it comes time to make that decision, the motivation's not there. So you need something else to push you. You need something to push you through the fear. You need something to push you through the procrastination. You need stuff to make you focus. So my suggestions are this. First, you need to create a why. If you haven't heard this yet, you haven't been listening to the right people. You got to have a why. What's your why? Why do you want to be successful? Why do you want to be the best real estate agent in your town, in your zip code, in your city, in your state? And your why has to be strong. It can't just be, I want to be rich. That's not a deep enough why. Why do you want to be rich? I want to be wealthy. Why do I want to be wealthy? I want to create a lifestyle, not just for me, I want to create a lifestyle for my daughter. I want to create a legacy that's going to take care of my daughter when she gets older, so she doesn't have to struggle with choosing what to do with her life between paying the bills or chasing her dream like I did. Okay? I want to support my wife and be able to never have to say no to her and take her on vacations. You know, I want to be able to live debt-free and never have to work for another person. You have to find out what your why is. And then you need to remind yourself of that why when the motivation is not there, or when the courage isn't there to break through that wall of fear. Okay? So, with that being said, when you come up against something that's holding you back, find a tool to put that why in your face so that you can break through that barrier. Okay? I hope that helps. I hope that meant something to you. If it made no sense, I apologize. I'm sure it made sense to most of you. Traffic's crazy. I better concentrate on driving.